I finally finished watching the second episode of McGregor Forever on Netflix, and guys, if you haven't seen it, you have to go check it out because it's fantastic. This video won't be nearly as long as my other one because I was talking about a lot of the stuff that they went through for Conor McGregor, but I wanted to talk about this episode and what I enjoyed seeing from this episode. Again, I would imagine it'll be a little bit quicker, but we're going to talk about it. So, spoilers ahead for McGregor Forever episodes 1 and 2 now. So if you haven't seen it, click off the video. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about it in just a second. I do want to say, though, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's talk about McGregor Forever. So the first thing that they went through is a little bit off of a cliffhanger from the first episode, and they're talking about Conor's hand injury, and they were just like, you know what, it's basic hand injury stuff, and Conor was really upset. He wanted to do a little bit better. You know what I mean? So there wasn't too much to talk about that, just kind of like what we've seen already. But he eventually, after the hand injury, he got the fight with Cowboy, and then we started going into that, and I really liked seeing the extra preparation and the different steps that they took to the approach to fight, and Conor McGregor spent a lot of time talking about mindset and positive thinking, and that's something that I really I don't, envy is not the right word, admire him for, excuse me, I was just, the thought escaped me for a moment. I really love that about him, the positive energy, and it's quite different, obviously, from the fight with Khabib, and he equates that to such a good performance, and while that might be true, you could just be saying it, because essentially, Cowboy was a easy matchup for Conor, and on Cowboy's side, Conor McGregor was a nightmare matchup, you know, the notorious slow starter versus the guy who's so explosive and dangerous in the beginning. Saw that fight, how it was going to go the second it was announced. I remember betting on it. I was like, oh man, that's going to be easy money. But still, they really talked about like how they went into different training, and Conor McGregor actually was always very positive, and that was really nice to see. But then they also went and talked about the first fight in 2013, and that was really interesting, okay? Because back then, when Conor McGregor first started, I don't know how long I've been training MMA for, but it was first when I was really starting to become, one, a super fan, and two, I was training MMA and martial arts myself. And I remember going back to my uncle's house, and he invited me to watch it over because my uncle was the guy who was first teaching me before I started actually learning. I was hitting boxing pads with him, so I was like, oh, let's watch the fights together. Or I don't remember if he asked me or vice versa, whatever. I remember actually going to his house. We were sitting down watching the fights, and there's this nobody, Conor McGregor, you know what I mean? Somebody nobody's ever heard of. He ended up winning his first fight, and I kid you not, my uncle sat there and was like, I like this dude's technique. He's going to be champion one day. Now, I don't believe he said dude, but still, he said something to the extent of that, and I was like, wow. And then we ended up following his career the rest of the time, so it was nice to take me back to that moment and the first time we've ever seen Conor McGregor, because it took me back a really good moment watching it just on the chair, sitting next to my uncle. I was having like a Coke or something. I don't know. It was just, it felt really nostalgic. And I was watching this McGregor Forever with my mom, and I was telling her about that, and that made her smile too. So that was really nice to see. But after that, it went into a little bit of how the kids didn't want McGregor to fight. And that's something that I always think about. And that's something that I wanted to make a video about, is how I hate how people bring their kids to UFC, but that's not what this is about. And it just really got me thinking about the kids. So Conor was leaving for the fight, and the kid obviously knew what Conor did for a living because the kid didn't want Conor McGregor to go. I would imagine it's a rental house. I don't know if Conor McGregor owns it, but he has the money to really own it. So before the Cowboy fight, he was kissing his kid, and he was crying, didn't want him to go. He was like, you get the point, doing the kid stuff where it's like, I really worry about you. And that was really not touching. It was a little bit sad, actually. And thankfully Conor McGregor came out of it like with no problems, you know what I mean? But as we continue through the episode, it showed a little bit more of Conor McGregor being in a really good mood. He was in a really good mood before the fight. He was in a really good mood after the fight, and it was really cool to see them after a win, and he looked so relieved. The kid looked so relieved. D looked happy. Everybody was happy, and I love the way that Conor just flies to D right away. You know what I mean? Their relationship is something else. And that's something else that I wanted to touch on through this whole documentary is it's tough because there is evidence out there. Well, not evidence. There's speculation out there that Conor McGregor does cheat on his wife. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Of course, we can't say for sure. But the relationship that him and D have, it's crazy to me, like how, like, you can see that they truly love each other. You know, Conor does stuff, and I'm not excusing it at all. Okay, I'm not saying that. It's just the way that they look at each other. It's the way that I kind of look at my wife. You know, it's absolutely nothing but love. They were on a plane, they were chilling, and then he said something to the extent of, "I thank you for being here. There's nobody I'd rather have by my side." And you could just tell wherever D follows him, wherever Conor McGregor, he always has her hand being held. You know, he's a nice family man. I really love that about him, and I love that he kept the same girl, kept the same wife when Conor McGregor had nothing. it was really nice, and I believe that's how the episode ended. No, they ended with him giving some stuff away, so I'll get to that in just a second. But they then went into that like alligator boat ride. But even then, when they were just riding along, Conor McGregor just shows, and I understand like part of it's like for the documentary, part of it's being filmed, so you're putting up a little bit of an act. But we know this from Conor McGregor. He's a family man. He wants to take care of his family. He wants to have his kids. That's why he's fighting. He wants them all to be taken care of. That's what I really like about him. So seeing those moments with his kids, seeing those moments with his wife, seeing the people close to him, his coaches, everything, no matter what they're doing, whether on the plane ride or in the alligator park, you can see, and the eyes tell a lot about people. And Conor McGregor seems really real in that sense, and I really, really become a fan of him for that. And my mom watching it next to me, she was become even more of a fan because she could see, too, the way that him and Dee look at each other. So that's really nice. I hope there's nothing shady going on behind the scenes with him and some other people. Again, with somebody of his status, I would not be surprised. But still, like, their relationship seems pretty good. That's what I'm saying. But the episode then ended, and it was, I know I summed it up pretty quick, but I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on it. The second episode. The episode ended with him giving back to people who gave to him, and that's something that I hope to do one day with my channel. So that's something I can relate to because I have the goal with, if you guys are just watching this UFC channel here, I have 5 YouTube channels. And this second one is going to get monetized. And I wholeheartedly believe that I'm going to make it in YouTube. I'm going to make it a career. And I want to get a lot more richer than most people. So I totally intend on doing stuff like retiring my mom because she's still doing stuff on the side. I totally intend on making my kids grow up nicely and give them the childhood that my dad gave to me, which was essentially have everything that I want. I grew up completely spoiled. And I love that Conor McGregor, his whole point, and this was during the 2020, everything that was going on, he brought people, I think it was masks because there was a mask shortage. He was giving back to the people specifically who gave back to him. So he went to the hospital and had 2 surgeries and was taken care of very, very well. And Conor McGregor ended up giving back to them specifically. And the reason that I like that is because I hope to do something like that one day with my YouTube channels. Something like Mr. Beast. You know what I mean? Of course, I don't believe that I will make it to that extent, but I believe that I will be able to do stuff like that, and that's going to be wonderful. I want to be like you see the stories like with Raul Rosas Jr., for example. That's the one that comes off the top of my head. Give me the $50K bonus so I can buy my mom a van. I want to do stuff like that. That's really, really cool of Conor. And I understand there's an extent of it where it's just show, hey, you know what, Conor McGregor did a nice thing, but the fact that he specifically has been giving to people that gave to him is something that I really, really admire. And I understand Conor McGregor on TV, and you can see it even through the documentary where he's turning on the promotion switch. I still truthfully believe that he's a good guy. And I really, really respect a lot what I've seen in this episode with him taking care of his kids, the way he looks at his wife with his eyeballs. The eyeballs tell a story. And the way that he is giving back specifically to people who gave to him and helped him. I respect and admire that so much, and that's what I really loved seeing in this episode. So, with that being said, I think that if I'm remembering it all correctly, that's how the episode ended. So, I'd love to know what you guys think, and please don't spoil the next 2 episodes for me if you have seen it. But right now, what did you think about episode 2 of McGregor Forever? I'm really enjoying it. I'm watching it with my mom. It's great. We're having a great time watching it. So, if you want to check out any more videos from the Clenbat channel, they're right here on the screen for you. Check them out because they're great. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you there. Let me know what you thought. Take care.